This is Jarrod Horak, and this is my latest Preakness 2024 video, and it's Wednesday, May 15th. So we're just a few days out from the Preakness Stakes now. Now, we started with 9 horses, but we had a big scratch this morning. Muth, your morning line favorite, had to scratch out of the race. He traveled for 18 hours. He got to Pimlico. He came down with a fever, and he's now out of the race. And he was going to be the likely pace setter as well. So with Muth out, it looks like Mystik Dan, your Kentucky Derby winner, is now going to be the favorite. And in this video, I'm going to go through and discuss the Today's Racing Digest pace and final time ratings for the Preakness entrants. Before I get to all of that, we have a couple coupon codes that I'd like to share with the viewers of this video if you're interested in purchasing Black Eyed Susan Day Digest and Preakness Day Digest at todaysracingdigest.com. So if you're interested in the Black Eyed Susan Day Digest, that's for Friday, May 17th, and that Black Eyed Susan Day at Pimlico, you can use coupon code BLACKEYE, and you'll get $5 off Black Eyed Susan Day Complete Digest at todaysracingdigest.com. So just go over to their Preakness page, click on that digest product, and then add that promo code, and you'll be able to get that product for $5 off. And if you're interested in Preakness Day coverage at Today's Racing Digest, you can get $10 off the Preakness Day Complete Digest. So that Pimlico Complete Digest Preakness Day, $10 off for using coupon code 24PREAKD. So go over to todaysracingdigest.com, go over to their Preakness page, and you'll see all of those products, and you'll be able to use those promo codes and get those discounts if you're interested in those products. Now, in that Complete Digest, you'll get past performances, analysis, pace, final time ratings. You have some performance ratings like the fire number and more, jockey and trainer stats. So go on over to todaysracingdigest.com if you're interested in those products. And now we'll get into the digest pace and final time ratings for the Preakness contenders. And the past performances in this video also provided by todaysracingdigest.com. Now looking at the pace now, with Muth out of the race, it looks like your main speed horses and the horses that have the best pace ratings. Mystik Dan got a 155 pace rating for the Kentucky Derby, and then Just Steel also got a 155. So those two horses exit that Kentucky Derby, and Just Steel was dueling on the lead, and Mystik Dan was saving ground, tracking the pace that day. So for Just Steel, he's switching riders to Joel Rosario, and typically in his other races, he liked to stalk the pace. So it looks like Dwayne Lucas would like to get him off of the pace and not dueling on the lead and more into a stalking position. So I think maybe he's going to be a little off the pace. For Mystik Dan, now that Muth is out, and the 3 horses drawn to his inside, Mugatu, Uncle Heavy, and Catching Freedom, they all are off the pace types. So now Mystik Dan may be able to outbreak those horses and get over to the inside, either setting the pace or a more likely scenario, tracking the pace, because I think the horse that's most likely to set the pace with a 152 Today's Racing Digest pace rating is Imagination for trainer Bob Baffert, breaking from the outside post. He's coming in from California, and he's been up on the pace in all of his races. Doesn't need the lead, but from the outside post, Frankie Dettori can play the break. If nobody else wants to go, I would expect that Dettori from that outside post is going to try to get out there and clear this field and try to go wire to wire. So I think Imagination most likely is on the lead. Mystik Dan not too far behind, probably tracking the pace. Just Steel stalking the pace. And then the other horse that will probably be a bit forwardly placed is Tuscan Gold for trainer Chad Brown. He's only run 3 times. He showed decent tactical speed from an outer post in the Louisiana Derby. He has a pace rating on Today's Racing Digest of 144. So that's going to be good enough to track the pace and keep the leaders within his sights under Tyler Gaffalione. So those are your main speed horses in there. And then I would expect Seize the Gray, who got a higher pace rating in the Pat Day Mile, but his other pace ratings, and 141 is more realistic of where he'll be in this race, probably more mid-pack. They probably don't want to use up too much in the early going for that one. And as I said, the 3 inside horses that are still in this field, Mugatu, Uncle Heavy, Catching Freedom, they'll probably do their best running more off the pace. So that's the look at the pace ratings. Now let's look at the Today's Racing Digest final time ratings, and you'll see that Mystik Dan is the fastest horse, or at least he was in his last race, getting a 144 final time rating, winning the Kentucky Derby. He got a great trip in that race, saving ground behind contested fractions. He just slipped up the inside. He got the jump on the closers, Sierra Leone and Forever Young, and he was able to just hold off those 2 runners, winning by a nose. So Mystik Dan's maybe will try to do the same trip here. If for whatever reason Imagination doesn't get a great start, maybe they try to go to the front. Either way, early pressing presence for Mystik Dan. And his chances of winning this race definitely went up with the defection of Muth, your favorite, and he was the most likely winner of the Preakness Stakes as well. So now Mystik Dan becomes the favorite. He's got early pressing speed. He's got the best last race final time rating, and he's one that certainly needs to be respected in here. Another horse with a decent final time rating, Catching Freedom. He got a 138 in that Kentucky Derby, and he's one that he closed ground in the Derby. He saved ground as well. And then when Mystik Dan was moving up the inside, Catching Freedom was following him under Flavien Prat, moving up the inside as well. Couldn't quite go with Mystik Dan in the late going. He ended up finishing fourth in that race, a decent enough effort. And he's one that's going to hope that maybe some of those other horses get into a little bit of a battle. Maybe if Mystik Dan, see Just Steel that has some speed, Imagination, maybe even Seize the Gray shows that kind of Pet Day mile speed. If they kind of go out there and go a little quicker than anticipated, then a horse like Catching Freedom is definitely fast enough to make a run for winning this race. But he's at least very likely type horse that's very consistent, and he will probably finish somewhere in the top three anyway. Another horse with a decent final time rating, Imagination, from the Santa Anita Derby. He ended up getting a 138. He's capable of winning this race, especially if he can get out there and set the pace. And there's a possibility, and it looks like it's a good possibility, that we could have a wet track as well. And I'm going to be covering a wet track video next. In my next video today, I'm going to discuss the possibility of a wet track for the Preakness. But Imagination's one. He hasn't been on a wet track. Mystik Dan's 1-for-1 on a wet track. But he could easily just get out there and keep on going if he's able to clear off early. And then the next fastest horse is Tuscan Gold. And he had a 135 final time rating in the Louisiana Derby. And for this one, he's lightly raced, only 3 races. So his best races should be in front of him. He's got a good speed rating pattern. He's improving with every race. And he's one that could definitely run faster than that 135. And if he does, and Mystik Dan regresses after coming back in 2 weeks, that puts him right with the other top contenders in this race, and he would have a very good chance to win. That's a look at today's Racing Digest pace and final time ratings for the 2024 Preakness Stakes. Again, if you want to use those coupon codes, $5 off Black Eyed Susan Day or $10 off Preakness Day, head on over to todaysracingdigest.com on their Preakness page, and I'll also include those coupon codes in the description in this video. And that will wrap up this video. Again, I'll be back later today to look at a wet track scenario for the 2024 Preakness. And until I see you next time, good luck at the races.